is an Islamic regime, just like Iran. Here is the proof. Nigeria is an Islamic regime, just like Iran. And I can prove it in the next few minutes. Watch IPOB Rapture Media. Subscribe right now because what I am about to show you will change everything. I have the documents, I have the numbers, I have the history. Let's go. Okay, first, I need to explain Iran, because that is the key to everything. Iran has a president, it has elections, it looks like a democracy, but here is the thing, none of that matters. The real power in Iran belongs to one person, an unelected religious authority. He controls the military, he controls the courts, he even decides who gets to run for president, the elected government. Just a costume. The real body underneath it is a religious theocracy. Got it? Good, because I'm about to show you that Nigeria is the exact same thing, same system, different name, and I have the receipts. Fact number one, the Sokoto Caliphate. And this changes everything. In 1804, a man named Usman Dan Fodio launched a holy war across northern Nigeria. What came out of that war was the Sokoto Caliphate, one of the largest empires in sub-Saharan African history. And this was not a regular kingdom. This was a theocracy, governed by Islamic law, ruled by a sultan whose authority came from religion, not from any vote, built on military conquest, built on slavery. Sound familiar? That is literally Iran. Same structure, different century. Now here is where it gets crazy. When the British colonized Nigeria, they did not destroy the Sokoto Caliphate, they kept it. The emirs kept ruling, the Islamic courts kept running, the Sultan kept his authority. The entire caliphate survived colonialism completely untouched. So when Nigeria became independent in 1960, the caliphate was right there, organized, experienced, ready to take over the new country. And it did exactly that. Fact number two, the Constitution, and this is the part that will genuinely shock you. Nigeria's 1999 Constitution, the document running the country right now, was never voted on. No referendum, no public debate. A northern Muslim military ruler named General Abdul Salami Abubakar wrote it under military government, stamped it, and handed it to over 200 million people as their supreme law. But wait, it gets so much worse. In 2014, Christian delegates at Nigeria's National Conference counted every single religious reference inside that constitution. Every single one. Here are the numbers. Write these down. Sharia, 73 times. Grand Qadi, 54 times. Islam, 28 times. Muslims, 10 times. Add that up right now. That is 165 Islamic references inside the constitution of a country that calls itself a secular democracy. Now, how many times does that same constitution mention Christian? 0. Christianity? 0. Christ? 0. Church? 0. 165 to 0. I need to say that one more time because I want it to really land. The Nigerian constitution references Islam and Islamic institutions 165 times and mentions Christianity 0 times, in a country where hundreds of millions of people in the south and in Biafra land are Christian. And Section 275 of that same constitution physically builds Sharia courts into the Nigerian judicial system inside the constitution of a country that Section 10 of that same constitution claims is religiously neutral. The document contradicts itself on purpose, because it was written on purpose. 12 northern states have since fully adopted Sharia law, openly violating Section 10. The federal government has done absolutely nothing, because acting against it would destroy the power structure that runs the federal government. That is not a secular constitution. That is an Islamic constitution wearing a democratic costume, exactly like Iran. Fact number 3, the oil, and this one will make you genuinely angry. All of Nigeria's oil, every single barrel that comes from Biafra land, Rivers State, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Imo, Delta State. Biafra land produces the wealth that funds the entire Nigerian government every year. But Nigeria's constitution says every drop of that oil belongs to the federal government in Abuja, not the communities whose land it comes from, not the people whose rivers are destroyed by spills. Abuja, nationalized, by design. And Abuja has been dominated for decades by the northern political establishment rooted in that same caliphate structure. Biafra land produces, the north controls, the constitution enforces it, and the world is told this is democracy. In Iran, oil revenue goes to institutions controlled by the religious power center, not to elected officials, not to the people. Same exact system. Fact number 4, 3.5 million people died, and nobody answered for it. From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria fought the Biafra-Nigeria War. And during that war, the federal government imposed a total blockade on Biafra land. No food, no medicine, nothing. The British Modern Military History Society documents that the blockade alone caused between 3 and 4 million civilian deaths from starvation. When you add combat deaths and disease across the full war, historians place the total Biafran death toll at up to 3.5 million people. 3.5 million, and the majority were not soldiers, they were children, mothers, farmers, ordinary Biafrans who starved to death because a government deliberately cut off their food as a weapon. Nigeria's Federal Executive Council Vice Chairman Obafemi Awolowo said it on record. Starvation was, and quoting him directly here, one of the weapons of war. They said it out loud. They starved 3.5 million people and called it strategy. And not one person has ever stood trial, not one conviction, not one international accountability process, nothing. The same people who funded that war with Biafran oil money then wrote a constitution ensuring the oil stays under their control forever. That is the system, and you are being told it is a democracy. Fact number 5. Trump bombed Sokoto on Christmas Day, and this question has no answer. December 25th, 2025, Christmas Day, Donald Trump announced US airstrikes in Sokoto State, northwest Nigeria. Tomahawk missiles, 16 precision-guided munitions fired from Reaper drones, targeting ISIS camps, specifically Islamic State Sahel province and its affiliate Lakurawa, operating right there in the Caliphate heartland. Trump said on record that the targets were killing, his exact words, innocent Christians. He deliberately waited until Christmas Day to drop them. A message. In Sokoto, on Christmas. Now here is the question nobody can answer. Nigeria has a military. Nigeria has an air force. Nigeria has collected trillions of naira in oil revenue from Biafra land for decades while these groups were growing. And it took an American president firing Tomahawk missiles from a ship in the ocean to do what Nigeria refused to do with Biafran money. Why? When your government's power is architecturally rooted in an Islamic caliphate, you do not bring your full military against Islamic militant groups in caliphate territory. The decades of delay, the endless negotiations, the refusal to finish it, that is not incompetence. That is a system protecting itself. The final comparison, Iran and Nigeria, side by side. Iran, unelected religious authority, holds final power. Nigeria, caliphate-rooted northern establishment, holds historical final influence regardless of election results. Iran, constitution built on Islamic law. Nigeria, constitution references Islam 165 times and Christianity 0 times. Iran, oil controlled by the religious power center. Nigeria, Biafran oil nationalized and controlled from the north by constitutional design. Iran, minorities systematically marginalized and denied self-determination. Nigeria, 3.5 million Biafrans killed in a documented genocide from 1967 to 1970 with zero accountability ever. Iran honestly calls itself the Islamic Republic. Nigeria dishonestly calls itself the Federal Republic. One name is the truth, one name is the lie. You now know which is which. Before you go, 3 things right now, not later. Like this video immediately. Every like gets this documented proof in front of someone who is still living inside the lie. Share this to every Biafran WhatsApp group, Telegram channel, and Facebook community you belong to right now. Copy the link, send it. Truth that stays on your screen changes one person. Truth that travels changes the world. Subscribe to IPOB Rapture Media and turn that notification bell on. Every week, documented, verified.